इन्द्रयोगेन्द्रम् नत्वा ज्ञानप्रदं गुरुम् मुमुक्षूणां हितार्थाय तत्त्वबोधोऽभिधीयते। So now we are on the third topic of Tattva Bodha. The subject matter of this topic is Jagat Utpatti. This topic tells us all about how the Utpatti of this Jagat happens. Now we had seen earlier that this universe is made up of three principles: Jeev, Jagat and Ishvara. And that all the three are manifestations of Nirgun Brahma, which is represented by Om. So we finished the topic of Jiva, and now the topic of Jagat starts. The Jiva in the Shastra is known as Pindanda. In short, he is called the Pind. And the Jagat is known as Brahmand. And is the shape of an egg. And, Now, this Jiva, his life, the entire life is transacting with the Jagat, the objects of the Jagat. From morning to night, that is what life is all about. So, to understand life properly, to be able to live this life properly, so that we can be a blessing for ourselves, reach the goal of life, and also every moment of our life be blessing for everybody around. For that, we have to understand both these principles, Jeev as well as Jagat. So we finished the topic of Jiva, and now we will see what is the Jagat all about. Before we read in this, I will tell you the basic steps of Jagat Utpatti, because in the Shastras, they don't, in Tattva Bodha here also, they don't tell us everything in detail. Even here, the Guru expects us to know a lot of stuff, like they presume that we know it, that they are at this stage. But when we are starting from scratch, we have to know many more things. That is why scriptures you can't study on your own. You can't get a textbook of Tattva Bodha and read and understand. No, you will not be able to understand anything, This has to be taught. That is why Shastras is not a matter of self-study, So I will first tell you this and then we will read. So in the Jiva's topic, we saw that the body-mind-sense complex of the Jiva is made up of three kinds of matter. Causal, subtle and gross matter makes the body of a Jiva, which forms the Karan Sharira, the Sukshma Sharira and the Sthul Sharira. Karan Sharira is the causal state. We are experiencing only two shariras of ours, We experience the Sthul Sharira, and we also, we experience our Sukshma Sharira, our mind, our senses, prana. We are experiencing that. We don't experience others, but we experience our own. So these two shariras are the manifest shariras, and the cause of that is the Karan Sharira. From the Karan Sharira, the Sukshma and Sthul manifest, and into that, they resolve back. Every night, where has our mind gone? Mind was there so active, then it's resolved. It's resolved back into its current state, That's from where it's coming, that's from where it's going, So these three shariras we are made up of. Similarly, the Shastras tell us that this entire Jagat is made up of three kinds of matter put together. Causal matter, subtle matter and gross matter also make this Jagat, The causal matter of this Jagat is known as Karan Prapancha, because we're talking about the totality here, Jagat is totality. Sukshma, in our Sukshma Sharira, but for the Jagat it is Sukshma Prapancha. For us it is Sthul Sharira, but for the Jagat it is Sthul Prapancha. So that is the only difference in name. Here all the totality of all the Sthul Shariras together called Sthul Prapancha, Sukshma Prapancha and Karan Prapancha. Now in our Sthul Sharira we had read that Sthul Sharira, the causal matter, it is all matter pervaded by consciousness, the whole thing, you know. In Karan Sharira we have causal matter, in Sukshma Sharira we have subtle matter, and in physical body we have gross matter. So the causal matter is pervaded by consciousness. So we have Atma and Anatma in Karan Sharira, and that Anatma is causal matter, you know. Similarly for the Jagat, there is causal matter pervaded by consciousness, you know. Causal matter in totality is called Maya, and consciousness in totality is called Brahman. So the Karan Prapancha has Brahman and Maya together. Maya pervaded by Brahman. Symbolically, Brahman and Maya, because people don't understand when we talk in these terms, so to make them understand, it is supposed to be the father principle and the mother principle. When you talk like that, people understand, you know. So you must have seen the Murti or the picture of Ardhanarishwara, half Shivji and half Parvatiji, you know. That represents Brahman and Maya symbolically. But if we tell people, then they don't know, because they don't know anything about Vedanta. So you say father and mother, you know. So God is combination of Brahman and his Shakti called Maya. Maya is not separate from Bhagwan, you know. Maya is his Shakti. Just like we studied that in us there are three Shaktis, Jnana Shakti, Ichha Shakti, Kriya Shakti. They are my Shaktis. My Shakti is not separate from me, you know. It is my Shakti. So Maya is Bhagwan's Shakti, you know. So they are not two entities. If there are two entities, there will be duality, you know. And here we are saying it's non-duality, nothing, there are no two principles here. It is Bhagwan, that's all, Brahman, you know. So in Karan Prapancha, we have Brahman plus Maya. Brahman is also called Purusha in the Shastras, and Maya is called Prakriti. You know. In some Shastra, he is also called Mayavi. Maya is supposed to be this magic. This is magic in front of our eyes. The one dot of an insect, that dot, you may need a magnifying glass to see that. That's got legs, it's got antennas, it's got eyes, it's got alimentary canal. What is this, you know? This is nothing short of magic here. So Maya is just this world has come up in front of us, you know. And Bhagwan is Maya V, he's the magician, and his magic is Maya, you know. So Brahman and Maya, they are in the Karan Prapancha, they are the first principles from which Jagat Utpatti starts. Then Jagat Utpatti actually takes place in two stages, from Karan Prapancha to Sukshma Prapancha, and from Sukshma to the Sthul Prapancha. This is the stage of Jagat Utpatti, you know. From Karan Prapancha, which is the causal matter Maya, and the Bhagwan, which is the consciousness pervading it. This Maya in the Karan Prapancha it's Trigunatmika. It's got three gunas. They are Sattva, Rajas and Tamogunas. They are present. The causal matter has these three gunas, properties, attributes. These are the properties of Maya. And whatever is present in the causal state, that has to be present in the manifestations, you know. So whatever is coming from Maya, the whole thing is coming from Bhagwan with his Shakti of Maya, and Maya's got these three gunas, and these three gunas are going to be there in every manifestation of this world. So first from Karan Prapancha, the Sukshma Panch Mahabhutas are born. Sukshma means that which is not visible to our senses. It is Sukshma. So first there is Sukshma Akash, Sukshma Vayu, Sukshma Agni, Sukshma Jal and Sukshma Prithvi are born first from Karan Prapancha. all these five Mahabhutas have the three gunas of Maya, Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. Also, each Sukshma Mahabhuta has its own unique property. Akash's property is Shabda, Vayu's property is Sparsha, Agni's property is Rupa, Jal's property is Rasa, and Prithvi's property is Gandha. So each Mahabhut, along with its own property, has three properties of Maya. This is the base over here. These Sukshma Mahabhutas then form the Sukshma Bhautikas of the Jagat. Like our Sukshma Sharira was formed of, we studied in Tattvabodha 17 principles, 17 instruments, and it also said that Man and Buddhi, whenever it's mentioned alone, it has Ahankara and Chit involved in it. So all that is Sukshma Bhautika. What is formed from the Sukshma Bhutas is Bhautikas, the elements and the elementals. So first these are formed, and the Bhutas and the Bhautikas together form the Sukshma Prapancha of this Jagat. Then the Sukshma Bhutas undergo a process called Panchikaranam. It is a grossification, and then they form Sthul Bhutas. What we are experiencing here, this Akash, Vayu, Agni, which we can perceive, is Sthul Bhutas. Then these Sthul Bhutas form the Sthul Bhautikas. What are Bhautikas? The gross bodies of everything here in this world. The human being, the plants, animals, birds, insects, worms, bacteria, viruses, rocks, mountains, rivers, sun, moon, stars, whatever we are seeing has got a body for it to manifest, That gross body is made out of Panchikrit, Panch Mahabhutas, the Sthul Bhutas forming these Bhautikas. Got it? So these are the stages of the Jagat Utpatti. Now with this understanding we will read. So we had read two of these in last class. Now we will read from Tataha Akashah Sambhutah Akashad Vayuhu Vayos Tejah Tejas Apaha Adhyah Prithvi. So here he says Tataha. In the Shastras, these words are loaded, these Tataha, Ataha, Aham, Idam, they have such deep meaning that we have to understand this. So here he is saying Tataha. Tataha means from this Karan Prapancha of Brahman and Maya, Brahman and his Shakti of Maya, Tataha, from that, Akasha Sambhuta, the Sukshma Akasha is born. Sambhuta is born. Now, it's like, it's not that, the Big Bang happened and the five Mahabhutas were there in place, science says that, but that is not that. There is an order here. There is an order in which these Panch Mahabhutas have evolved, But the speed of everything here is so quick that it seems as if it's all together, The speed of light is 1,56,000 miles per second, And the mind is moving even faster than light, So that's the speed at which things are happening here, So first, from Karan Prapancha, Sukshma Akasha Sambhuta. So Akash, the Sukshma Akash, which we cannot see, is born first. Akash is not something, it's not emptiness or nothingness, It is a positive entity, it is the subtlest kind of matter. This is matter. Even science says that Akasha is flexible. So this is not nothing, this is not emptiness, this is the subtlest kind of matter, And the property of Akash is what? Shabda. All this is not given in Tattvabodha, but you have to know, So Shabda, the subtlest kind of sound, is present in Akasha, This sound is known as Anhad Nad. Anhad, no had. And nad is the sound, you know. This sound you can only hear, it's like a hissing, humming sound, sometimes like a sound of crickets, you know, that sound. When the mind is totally quiet, you will hear this sound. This is the sound of Akasha, you know. Some people hear it as Omkara Nada, like reverberating sound of Om, like that is going on in Akasha, Anhad, no had to it, you know. In English it is called the sound of silence. There are many songs on this, the sound. When your mind is totally silent, you will hear the sound. That is the basic sound present in Akasha. And all the heard sound comes from this sound, you know. So from Akasha, so Tata Akasha, Akashad Vayuhu. From Akash, the Sukshma Vayu is born. And what is the property of Vayu? Sparsha. That is touch. But since Vayu is coming from Akasha, it also has a secondary property of Shabd, because that is coming from there. Evolution is like that. So we can feel Vayu and we can hear Vayu. All the storms, how much sound it's making, and we can feel the Vayu, because this is the order of its evolution, you know. Then Vayuho Teja. From Sukshma Vayu, the Sukshma Agni Mahabhuta is born. You know? And the property of Agni is Rupa. And then it's got to have these two properties also because of the evolution. So we can see Agni, we can hear Agni. When fire is there, it makes sound. And we can feel Agni, but we dare not feel it, otherwise it will give us prasad, you know. But we can feel Agni, you know. So then from Tejas, Apaha. From Sukshma Agni, the Sukshma Jala is. Jala Mahabhuta is born, you know. And the property of Jala is Rasa, taste. But it's going to have all these properties because that's the order. So we can hear the water, ocean water, how much those noise the waves are making, you know. We can hear the water, we can feel the water, we can see the water, and we can taste the water. Then from Adbhyaha Prithvi, from this water Mahabhuta, the Prithvi Sukshma Mahabhuta is born. And the property of Prithvi is Gandha, and it's going to have all these other properties also. So we can hear the earth, all dhoom dharam, earthquakes, volcanoes, it's making so much of sound, you know, earth. We can touch, we can see the earth, we can taste the earth, and we can even smell the earth. All the smell, you know, be it fragrant or foul, it is coming from the Prithvi Tattva from that source, from where the smell is coming, because it's Panchikrit, you know, it's all together. So the smell part is coming from the Prithvi Tattva. We get the smell of earth when the first rain comes, you know, that's the smell of Prithvi. So we can, all the five senses can perceive Prithvi, you know. This order does sound unbelievable, from Agni, Jal, from Jal, Prithvi, but this alone is a fact, you know. Suppose we take a chunk of metal that represents Prithvi. Metal is coming from Prithvi, you know. And if we heat it at high temperatures, you know, then it will become liquid state, Jal. Then you heat it further, it will become red hot, Agni state. Heat it further, it will vaporize, Vayu state. Heat it further, it will break up into its elements, Akasha state. That is how unbelievable. That is why this is magic. And Bhagwan is the Mayavi, he's the magician who has produced this, you know. So this is the order. Now we will read. Etesham Panchatattvanam Madhye Akashasya Satvikamshat Strotrendriyam Sambhutam. We'll read little more. Vayuhu Satvikamshat Tvagendriyam Sambhutam. Agnehe सात्विकांशात् चक्षुरेन्द्रियं सम्भूतम् जलस्य सात्विकांशात् रसनेन्द्रियं सम्भूतम् पृथिव्यां सात्विकांशात् घ्राणेन्द्रियं सम्भूतम् एतेषां पंचतत्वानां समष्टि सात्विकांशात् मनो बुद्धि अहंकार चित्त अंतःकरणानि संभूतानि. Now what is in front of us? The Sukshma Pancha Mahabhutas. Now from these, now Sukshma Mahabhutas have Sattva, Rajas and Tamo gunas, Now from the Sattva guna of these Pancha Mahabhutas, Sukshma, Sattva guna stands for knowledge, for knowing. So anything with which we come to know everything here in this world has to be coming from Sattva guna. When we are doing things, activity, that has to come from Rajoguna. When we are resting, that has to come from Tamoguna. So from Sattva guna of these Panch Mahabhutas, they are telling us the Gyanendriyas which are formed, individual Gyanendriyas are formed from each Mahabhuta, right? So first he is saying, Etesham Panchatattvanam Madhye, from these Panchatatvas, Akashasya Sattvikamshat, from the Sattva Amsha of Akasha, Shrotrendriyam Sambhutam, the sense of hearing is born in totality, not just my sense of hearing. The sense of hearing in totality is born from Sattva Amsha of Akash, right? Now, there is a connection here. Now, the property of Akash is what? Sound. And what is being formed from the Sattva Amsha of Akash? Sense of hearing. That is why our sense of hearing can only hear sound. Our ears cannot see. Our ears cannot smell. They can only hear. That is their field, of knowing. Why? Because it's coming from same Mahabhutas. From other Mahabhutas, the Gyanendriyas cannot perceive. They are perceiving only its own Mahabhuta's property, right? So from that Shrotrendriyam income this thing. Then Vayoho Sattvikamshat Tvagendriyam Sambhutam. From the Sattvic Amsha of Vayu, the sense of touch is born in totality. And the property of Vayu is Sparsha. And so our sense of touch, that is a Sukshmendriya, which is present in the Golakam. Golakam we've studied is the skin. So the Sukshmendriya present in the Golakam can feel everything, all the touches it can feel, because it is coming from Vayu, right? Then Agnehi Sattvikamshat Chakshurendriyam Sambhutam. From the Sattvic Amsha of Agni, Chakshuendriyam, the sense of sight is born. And the property of Agni is form, Rupa. That is why the sense of sight, which is present in our eyes, can only perceive forms and colors. Eyes cannot hear, eyes cannot smell, eyes can only see. It is restricted to its own Mahabhuta's property, right? Then Jalasya Sattvikamshat Rasnendriyam Sambhutam. From the Sattva Amsha of Jal, the sense of taste is born, and the property of Jala is Rasa, taste. That is why the Sukshma Indriya present in the Golakam, which is tongue, can only taste different tastes. Prithivyam Sattvikamshat Ghanendriyam Sambhutam. From the Sattva Amsha of Prithvi, the sense of smell is born, and the property of Prithvi is smell. That is why the sense of smell present in the nose can perceive smell everywhere, Then he says, Etesham Panchatattvanam Samashti. Now all these sattvic amshas of the 5 Panch Mahabhutas in totality, here Gyanendriyas were formed individually, Akash this, Vayu this. Now all the 5 of all the 5 Mahabhutas together, they form our Antakarana. Antakarana is got Man, Buddhi, Chit, Ahamkar, This has to be formed from Samashti. Samashti means totality. It has to be formed from totality of the Sattva Amsha, because without the mind backing each sense, the sense doesn't perceive anything. The mind has to back every Gyanendriya. If I'm looking at something and the mind is gone, then that is not registered in my mind. So the mind has to be available, and because mind has to back every Gyanendriyas, it has to be formed from the Samashti of Sattva Amsha. All the 5 Sattva Gunas together form the Man, Buddhi, Chit, Ahamkara. Antakarna is one instrument, but it performs 4 different functions of Man, Buddhi, Chit and Ahamkara. Just like a person can be a father, a son, a brother, a husband, he's performing different roles, so he's called different names. Similarly, the Antakarana is performing different functions, so it has got different names when it's performing different functions, So this is about the, from Karan Prapancha, we came to Sukshma Prapancha, and from Sukshma Prapancha, the Sukshma Bhutas forming the Bhautikas, the Gyanendriyas and the Antakarana. Now, in the beginning, we had studied about Gyanendriyas and Karmendriyas, their functions and devatas, and that time Guru didn't mention about the Antakarana, Man, Buddhi, Chit, Ahamkar. Now he is mentioning, so we will read that now. Sankalpa Vikalpatmakaha Manaha Manaha Nishchayatmika Buddhi Aham Karta Ahamkaraha Chintan Kartru Chittam Manaso Devata Chandramaha Buddhehe Brahma Ahamkarasya Rudraha Chittasya Vasudevaha. So now first he is going to tell us the functions of these 4 our inner instruments, and he says Sankalpa Vikalpa Atmakaha Manaha. He is using the word Atmakaha for Mana because everything is born out of Atma. We can use the word Atma for anything because everything is coming from where? From Brahman, Atma, So this word in the Shastras sometimes is used for the body, sometimes is used for the mind, sometimes, and this is used all over. So he is using that Atmakaha. So mind has many properties, many functions, All the emotions belong to the mind. But Guru is using one, he's talking about one function of the mind, which is Sankalpa Vikalpa. Sankalpa Vikalpa is weighing the pros and cons before we take a decision. A human mind is so evolved that only human mind can weigh the pros and cons, Decision making is a tough job, especially for some people. They can't come to a decision. So many times they'll keep postponing the decision, they're not able to take the decision. So decision making is a big job, And before we decide, a human being has to weigh the pros and cons, think of the positive and negative aspect of that decision which I'm going to take. What are the advantages there? What are the disadvantages there? Just like we take a medicine, we know it's got side effects, but so we'll weigh the pros and cons. If the benefits are outweighing the side effects, then we take that medicine and put up with the side effects. So that is the way it is, the benefit is outweighing it, So the mind has, this is the main function of the mind. It is going to weigh the pros and cons. Animals' minds are instinctive, impulsive, they just act. A cat is not going to sit and think, shall I eat the rat or no, it's going to give me side effects inside. It's not, it's just impulsive, And there's so many human beings who function like that, They're just impulsive. they don't know what you're doing, and then later they regret because they've taken wrong decisions, So God has given us this huge, function of the mind that you weigh the pros and cons, think and then decide, So this, it's been highlighted, this function, that pros and cons. All the functions of the mind are in form of thoughts, vrittis, every function. Man, buddhi, chit, ahamkar is all thoughts, in the form of thoughts, So when the mind is weighing the pros and cons, these are thoughts going on in the mind. And after properly assessing it, then when the nishchaya is taken, when the decision is taken, yes, I am going to do this, that thought is the buddhi. Nishchay atmika buddhihi, that nishchay which that thought is taking, that thought is the buddhi. Thought belongs to buddhi. So buddhi takes the final call of the decision, Then aham karta, ahamkara. Ahamkara is not here, it's not pride and arrogance and ego. It is self-identity, Now a human being is made up of so many parts. Any creation here in this world is so many parts put together. Even a flower, petals, sepals, stamens, stems, leaves, all that put together is a flower, a creation, And a human being has got sthul sharira has got so many organs, sukshma sharira has got so many instruments, all that put together. So there has to be one, something within us which is going to own up all these actions. Then only a human being can function as a single unit. Otherwise we can't function, Somebody has to own it up. And that is a thought in the mind. So unbelievable, That is called aham vritti. It is a thought. Ahamkara is aham vritti, It is the self-identity, the individuality, that when the eye see, someone within me says, I see. When the ears hear, I hear. My body, I, mine, somebody owning it up, Throughout life, the physical body may keep on changing, our instruments may start wearing out, but this self-identity is constant throughout. I was that baby, I was that little child running around, I became, youth, I became youngster, I have become old, that I is not changing. I know everything right from my childhood. I know that is the I we are talking. Aham karta, ahamkara. I am the doer is a thought in the mind which is ahamkara. Then chintan kartru chittam. Chittam means the memory. Now, this faculty, we won't be able to function here. We can't survive without memory. Even this class here, we are only conducting it because everyone's got the memory of language from school, college, what we've studied. All that growth in the mind has come because of the subjects we study. So today I'm sitting here to understand Vedanta, not without memory. Without memory we can't do anything. Without memory would be, how they show in the movies, make on who? Because you really won't know who you are. We won't know whether we ate breakfast or we ate, how do we know that? Memories. Chintan karta chittam. So when the person is mind is taking, whether it's doing sankalpa, vikalpa, or is taking a nishchay, the person is taking the data from his memory about the knowledge, his experiences. Now today when I take a decision, my experiences have taught me so much that once I had taken that, things went wrong, so I'd better not do it, All this is stored in my memory. And from there I am taking the data and then I am coming to the decision, So memory is so very important, We cannot survive here. In fact, all the 4 antakarna faculties, we cannot survive. Antakarna is that important, So chintan kartur chittam, my memory, These 4, they make up my antakarna. Then the presiding deities, the devatas, which we had studied for Gyanendriya, Karmendriya. Now Guru is talking about the devatas of the of our antakarna. So he says, Manaso devata chandramaha. The, no, we studied that, no? We just read it up. We didn't? We did, no? We didn't? Okay, okay, so we'll read it. Huh? Manaso devata chandramaha buddhehe brahma ahamkarasya rudraha chittasya vasudevah. So he says the presiding deity of the mind is Chandrama Devata. You know, mind in any case is connected with this moon. That is why a mental asylum is called a lunatic asylum, coming from the word lunar. You know, there is a connection between mind and the moon. And people who are mentally disturbed, that Purnamashi and Ekadashi and all that, it definitely affects their mind. You know, huh? So the Devata who is taking care of the mind is Chandrama Devata. So when anybody has trouble, you know, then you know whom to pray to. You have to pray to Chandrama Devata, you know. Buddhehe Brahma. Brahma ji, the god with 4 heads. 4 heads represent 4 Vedas. 4 Vedas represent omniscience, all knowledge, you know. And his wife is whom? Saraswati ji. Saraswati ji blesses us with knowledge, you know. So Brahma ji with his Ardhangani as Saraswati ji, they are taking care of our buddhi, such an important faculty within us, you know. He says he is the creator, he is all knowledge, and this buddhi has to be knowledgeable, you know. So he is in charge of our buddhi. Then Ahankarasya Rudraha. Rudra means Lord Shiva, and he is taking care of our Ahankara. When you want to disidentify from this Ahankara, you have to pray to Bhagwan Shiva, you know. Otherwise, this Ahankara, wherever it raises its heads, is going to, Bhagwan Shiva destroys everything, no? He is the God in charge of the destruction of this universe. So if Ahankara raises its head, it's going to destroy the harmony, it's going to destroy the peace, it's going to destroy happiness, it's going to destroy all relationships, everything it will finish the moment this I starts, you know. So Ahankarasya Rudraha, Bhagwan Shiva, we have to pray to. He is the one who's taking care of our Ahankara, and when we pray to him, this Ahankara will stay in its place. We know what it is, it's a faculty, and we don't have to get identified with it, you know. In Bhagavad Gita, Bhagwan says, moksha when you can reach only when it is nirmamaha nirahankara. No ahamkara, no mamkara. When you reach that stage, you are going to get moksha, you know. So Bhagwan Shiva is in charge. And then Chittasya Vasudevaha. Bhagwan Vishnu, who is responsible for the sustenance and creation of this creation, you know, maintenance, sustenance. He only maintains our memory, you know. Memory, if we lose, we've had it, you know. So Bhagwan Vishnu is whom we have to pray to. He is the one who takes care of our memory. So up till now we finished Karan Prapancha, Sukshma Prapancha. Sukshma Prapancha has both Sukshma Bhutas and the Bhautikas. Bhautikas are the Gyanendriyas and the Antakarana. Now, Etesham Panchatattvanam Madhye Akashasya Rajasamshat Twag. It is not Twagendriyam. Twagendriyam written here. It should be Vagendriyam, you know. So that is wrong here. So it should be Vagendriyam Sambhutam, you know. Vayoho Rajasamshat Panendriyam Sambhutam. Vannehe Rajasamshat Padendriyam Sambhutam. Jalasya Rajasamshat Upasthendriyam Sambhutam. Prithivyaam Rajasamshat Gudendriyam Sambhutam. Etesham Samashti Rajasamshat Panch Pranaha Sambhutaha. Okay. So now we had studied only from the Sattva Guna of Sukshma Mahabhutas. Now he is telling us about the Rajoguna of the Sukshma Bhutas. Rajoguna stands for activity. So the Bhautikas which are going to be formed from Rajoguna are the ones which do activity here, are Karmendriyas, which we do karmas here, you know. So from Etesham Panchatattvanam Madhye Akashasya Rajasamshat, from the Rajas Amsha of Akasha, Vagendriyam Sambhutam, you know, the organ of the sense of speech is born, you know. That is this is a Karmendriya, you know. So here Twagendriya is skin, you know. So Vagendriya, it is a very powerful sense organ. It is an Indriya which is very, very powerful, especially in a human being. Only a human being can talk. Only a human being can laugh. Have you heard animals laughing? No. Have you heard animals talking? No. They make different kind of noises and we recognize the animals from the noises they are making, you know. But then yes, this is all part of Vagendriya. This is samashti, you know, totality. This is prapancha, you know. So, but a human being has such a powerful sense of speech, you know. So many languages a person can talk, you know, and this is a very powerful, it's just second to buddhi. Buddhi is the highest faculty we have, and then it is the speech which is number 2 here, you know. So, and this speech with which we are going to do our karmas, you know. We had studied Kayika, Vachika, Manasa karmas. Earlier we've studied 3 kind of karmas which we do. Kayika with our hands, Vachika and Manasa with our mind. When we think, that is also karma we are doing, you know. So from here the Vagendriya which is present in our tongue, this Indriya, the Karmendriya present in the Golakam which is the tongue, is coming from the Rajas Amsha of Akasha. Then Vayoho Rajasamshat Panendriyam Sambhutam, from the Rajas Amsha of Vayu, the Karmendriya of the hand, the Sukshma Indriya present in our hands is born, and hands are so powerful, you know. Vayu Devata is supposed to be so balvan. His sons are whom? Bhima and Lord Hanuman are putras of Vayu putras, you know. So they are so balvan because they're coming, they're from the Vayu, you know. Vayu is very strong. When the Vayu troubles, you know, we've all had it, all these tornadoes and all that when they come, you know. So from the Rajas Amsha of Vayu, our hands, the Indriya in our hands which makes our hands function. This is such an important organ of ours, you know. We wouldn't know what to do here without our hands. So it is coming from Vayu. Vannehe Rajasamshat Padendriyam Sambhutam, from the Rajas Amsha of Agni. The Karmendriya present in our legs is born, you know, which gives strength to the legs. And legs, so important, you know. We are not worried because we are moving around. Today we are not giving importance to it, but without our legs, what would we do, you know? So all the sportsmen, all of them, they are dependent on their legs, the strength in the legs, you know. So this is a Karmendriya which is present in our legs. Padendriyam, the Indriya giving present in our pada means the legs, you know. Jalasya Rajasamshat Upastendriyam Sambhutam. The Rajas Amsha of Jal gives rise to, you know, here in Tattva Bodha there is a little difference from the other texts of the Shastras. In here he is saying Upastendriyam. Upastendriyam is the organs of excretion formed from the Rajas Amsha of Jal. But in many of the texts of Vedanta, it is the other way. From the Jal, it is actually the organs of procreation which are formed. There's a little difference. Here Guru is saying that, you know. So he is saying that from the Rajas Amsh of Jal, the organs of excretion, the sense which is there, you know, the Indriya, the Karmendriya is born. And it is so important. Without evacuation of waste, we will not be able to survive. So it is a very important organ. Prithivyam Rajasamshat Gudendriyam. From the Rajas Amsh of Prithvi, the organs of procreation, he is saying, but as I said, there is a little interchange in some of the texts, you know. Then Etesham Samashti Rajasamsha Panch Prana Sambhutaha. So just like, you know, in the Antakarna has to back up the Jnanendriyas. Similarly, Prana has to back up the Karmendriyas. It has to give energy to the Karmendriyas. We are working with the Karmendriyas, you know. So that needs the energy. Energy is provided by Prana Shakti, you know. So there's one Prana Shakti doing 5 kind of functions. Prana, Apana, Vyana, Samana, Udana. You've seen that earlier. Inhalation, exhalation, circulation, digestion, assimilation, and Udana Shakti is anti-gravity, and that comes at the time of death, you know. The Jiva is thrown out of the Sthul Sharira by this Udana Shakti, you know. So, because this has to back up all the Karmendriyas, it is formed from Samashti Rajasamshas, or these 5 Panchabhutas, you know. So, together it has, because it's going to back up every Karmendriya. So, Prana Shakti is from the Rajas Amsh of all the 5 together, forms the Prana Shakti. And from the Sattva, this thing, it was Antakarna. Antakarna was backing the Jnanendriyas, so it was formed from the Sattva Guna of all the Panchamahabhutas, and the Rajoguna, all the 5 form the Pranas, because they are going to back the Karmendriyas. Clear? Now we have seen from the Sattva Guna, the Jnanendriyas are born, then the Antakarna of the totality of the Sattva Gunas, then from the Rajoguna, the Karmendriyas are born, and from the totality of the Rajogunas, Prana Shakti is born. Okay? Now, till here, it is Sukshma Bhutas and Sukshma Bhautikas, and these two together form the Sukshma Prapanch of this Jagat. First it was Karan Prapancha, that was the causal matter, Maya and Brahman. Then came the Sukshma Prapancha. Sukshma Prapancha, first the Sukshma Mahabhutas came. Then from the Sattva Guna of this, the Jnanendriyas are formed. From the totality of the Sattva Gunas, the Antakarna is born. From the Rajogunas, the Karmendriyas are born. From the totality of Rajoguna, the Prana Shakti is born. Now what is left is Tamoguna. Tamoguna of the Sukshma. Now Tamoguna individually doesn't form anything, but now this Tamoguna of the Sukshma Bhuta undergoes the process of Panchikarna, which we'll read. So, so Panchikarnam katham iti chet. Is there any statement before this? Before, after the, No? There is no other statement after Rajas Amsha. This is the next statement, Panchikarna, in your text? Okay, okay. Panchikarnam katham iti chet. Then Etesham Panchamahabhutanam Tamasam Shas. No, Tamasam Swarupam. Ekam ekam bhutam Dvidha vibhajya Ekam ekam ardham Prithak vyavasthapya Aparam aparam Ardham Chaturtha vibhajya Swardha manyeshu ardheshu Swabhag Chatushtaya Sanyojanam Karyam Tada Panchikarnam Bhavati Etebhyah Panchikrit Panch Mahabhutebhyah Sthula Shariram Bhavati. Okay, this is So he's saying Panchikaranam Katham iti chet. If you ask me what is Panchikaranam. So now the Sukshma Mahabhutas are going to undergo Panchikaranam and form Sthul Bhutas. Got it, no? And from the Sthul Bhutas, the Sthul Jagat is going to form. So he's saying, if you ask me what is this process of Panchikaranam. So he's saying, Etesham Panchabhutanam, from the Tamas Swarupam of the Panch Mahabhutas, Ekam Ekam Bhutam Dvidha Vibhajya. Now, you know, if you take each Mahabhutas, like Akash for example, it is first divided into two parts, 50-50. Okay? Then, Ekam Ekam Ardham Prathak Vyavasthapya. Now, out of this half, one half is left untouched. Akash's one half is not mixed up in the process of grossification, it is untouched. And the other half, he's saying, Aparam Aparam Ardham Chaturtha Vibhajya. Now this Akash got divided into two, 50% of it, half of it is Akash itself, but the other half gets divided into four parts. So one part of it becomes 1/8 of total of Akash, right? Because this 50% got divided into four parts, and one part of it is 1/8 of the totality. So now these four parts get exchanged. Similarly, same thing is happening for all the other Mahabhutas. Vayu half is like that, half gets divided. Agni half is like that, half gets divided into four parts. And these four parts are exchanged with each other. One part, this 1/8 goes to Vayu, 1/8 goes to Agni, 1/8 goes to Jal, 1/8 goes to Prithvi. Similarly, from these others also it goes like that. So now in one Mahabhut, like in Akasha, there is 50% Akasha and 1/8 is Jal, 1/8 is Vayu, Agni, Jal and Prithvi. This is called Panchikaranam. Now this has got mixed up, right? Akash has got 50% of its own, and the 50% has got 1/8 part of the other Mahabhutas also. It is still called Akasha because it's got 50% of Akasha. Predominantly it is Akasha, yet it has some parts of these other Mahabhutas. This process is called Panchikaranam. Get it? So he says, so Ardham Chaturtha Vibhajya Swadhamanyeshu Ardheshu Swabhag Chatushtaya Sanyoj Karyam. So this is how it mixes up. Tada Panchikaranam Bhavati. You got it, no? So every Mahabhut gets divided into two parts. One part is untouched, the other part gets divided into four parts. 1/8 of this gets exchanged with 1/8 of the others. End result is a grossified element called Sthula Bhuta. So from this, etebhyah panchikrit panch mahabhutebhyah sthula shariram bhavati. Now this is the Panch Mahabhut which we can see with our senses. This Akash is grossified Akash, Panchikrit Akash, which has got 50% of Akash and 1/8 of other Mahabhutas. The Vayu which I am experiencing is 50% Vayu and the remaining 1/8 of other. So this is grossified, and so our senses can perceive, because senses will perceive what? They will perceive what is coming from its own element, right? So we can perceive like that. This is what it is. What is this magic? No, this is magic, Bhagwan's magic here, So from this, all the Sthul Shariram Bhavati, Sthul Sharira of human beings, animals, plants, that tiny insect, the worm which I am seeing, his Sthul Sharira is made out of this Panchikrit Panch Mahabhutebhya, So everything which I am encountering here, that Sthul Sharira of that little cockroach and that machar and whatever I am seeing here is made out of Panchikrit Panch Mahabhut, and its Sukshma Sharira is made out of Apanchikrit Sukshma Mahabhutas. This is Sthul Mahabhutas, So that is what this is how the Jagat Utpatti happens. From Karan prapancha to sukshma prapancha, sukshma to the sukshma bhutas, the jnanendriyas and antakarna, from the rajas guna of that the karmendriya and the pranas, and then from the tamas it undergoes grossification and the sthul shariras of everybody is born, right? Now we will read one more. This is a very important statement. Evam pinda brahmanda yoho aikyam sambhutam. This is a declaration of Vedanta. This is a Mahavakya because it is showing Aikyam. This is one. Now see, me the Jiva and the Brahmanda. Jiva Pinda Brahmanda Yoho Aikyam Sambhutam. This is one. What the Jiva is, so every object of the Jagat is. Karan Prapancha and my Karan Sharira is got causal matter and consciousness. Anything in front of me, that little ant is also coming from there only, you know. Then the Sukshma Sharira of mine and the Sukshma Prapanch of this Jagat is made up of Sukshma Mahabhutas, the Apanchikrit Mahabhutas which have not undergone Panchikaranam. Anything here is Sukshma Sharira is made out of Apanchikrit Panch Mahabhutas. Then the Sthul Sharira of the Jiva and the Sthul Sharira of everything in this Jagat is made out of Panchikrit Panch Mahabhutas. That which got grossified is making the Sthul Sharira. So where is the difference? It is Aikyam. Pind Brahmanda Yoho Aikyam Sambhutam. Everything is one here, but we see it as different. I, me, mine, you, this, that, you know, the ant and this is the thing. No, this is the manifestation of God. Everything is only one. Just the name and form is different which is standing in front of me. I am encountering God in front of me which has got a different name and form. That's about it. It's a different form manifestation of God which has got a different name. If this is my drishti, this depends on my drishti, this jagat, you know. Drishti is my perception. If this knowledge is going to change my perception, then this srishti, which I am going to see, depends upon my drishti. This is called drishti, srishti, vad in the shastras, you know. This srishti which I see depends on my drishti, how I am seeing, how I am perceiving everything. So, if I'm going to perceive everything as different and then fight over here, like you are a Muslim, you are a Jew, and the wars are happening because of that. This is the reason behind this ignorance. And why did India never attack any country? Because of this philosophy. I'm encountering God in front of me, you know. So the Vedanta is also known as Darshan Shastra. Darshan is my perception. And with this knowledge, my darshan becomes sudarshan, the right darshan with which I perceive this world, you know. Bhagwan Vishnu's chakra is called Sudarshan chakra. Chakra is self-knowledge. This self-knowledge is going to change my darshan to sudarshan, so that I perceive this world as one. This is Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. This is God's world. Why are we fighting? Once I see this, where is the question of competition, complexes, jealousies, hatred, wars? Where? Why would we fight? So this knowledge is supposed to change my darshan. This is the darshan shastra. Once my drishti becomes corrected, this Vedanta is correcting the basic here. Your drishti has to change. Nonetheless, in Vyavahara, when we interact in the world, there is an order here. You know, I can't, a father has to be treated like a father, a son has to be treated like a son. But in my mind, I know that he is the manifestation of God in front of me. In my life, these people around me, the world I'm interacting, the plants, the animals, I have to treat them right. I can't be insensitive to animals, I can't be insensitive to birds, even to that little ant which is going. I have to be sensitive. That is God in front of me. So once this perception comes, you know, the Britishers tried their best to shake this philosophy of ours, they tried all their stuff they wanted to bring. They could not do it. This did not go. Till date we are studying Vedanta, because Vedanta was passed on from one guru to his one shishya under that tree. The guru sat there and gave this knowledge. In the family, the father gave it to his son. How would they break? If there's an organization, you can go and blast it off, This is not an organized religion. Hinduism is not organized religion. This is a way of life. It is handed over from father to son, from guru to shishya. How could they break this up? They could not. They tried everything. All the convent schools were very impressed with all that. Our gurukulas vanished, because of all that. Everybody's become so anglicized, and they thought they took pride in it. I am from that convent school. Our gurukulas, what they taught, it transformed everybody's life. If you have this, can you believe if this perception is there? If I have corrected my perception, every person I treat nicely, doesn't matter what they do, we're not worried about their problem, Whatever their religion is teaching is what they are doing. That's their problem, their karma. But when it comes to me, I have to look at them from this perspective. This is my darshan, this is my drishti, that what is in front of me, Pinda Brahmandayoho Akyam Sambhuta. There is no difference here between anybody. It's just the way of thinking is different. Your karmas were different, so you've got a different body, so you have got a different situation in life. You and this world which you're facing is Brahman here. This is Pinda Brahmandayoho Akyam Sambhutam. So with this we finish this third topic of Tattva Bodha, and hopefully now the students of Vedanta are going to treat this world right, Don't ever disturb anything here. My presence in this world, whatever time it is, it has to be first a blessing for me, because I have to reach certain goals here, and has to be a blessing for everybody around, Never hurt anybody. Let them say, they are saying because they are ignorant people. That is their darshan, that is their drishti. What can we do about it? But can we keep our drishti correct? Can we keep our darshan correct, When we do it, we are going to be living so comfortably. That is called Jivan Mukti. So this is what. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om.